In an ideal world, we would all learn in childhood to love ourselves. We would grow being secure in our worth and value, spreading love wherever we went, letting our light shine. If we did not learn self-love in our youth, there is still hope. The light of love is always in us, no matter how cold the flame. It is always present, waiting for the spark to ignite, waiting for the heart to awaken and call us back to our first memory of being the life force inside a dark place, waiting to be born, waiting to see the light. Bell hooks and All About Love. Hello world, it's Kiya, and welcome to Be My Witness, a podcast where we witness ourselves, witness others, and witness each other transform and experience life in all its beautiful ways. In today's episode, we are talking about love and all its different shapes and forms, and being a creative, your connection to vulnerability. And so I thank you for being here. I hope that this finds you well, and I hope that you enjoy. Let's get into it. So today has been a day. Honestly, I mean, this week has been pretty interesting as well. And it was on my heart today to talk about imposter syndrome, especially as a creative, as someone whose passion is subjective and is breaking a mold in some way. When I first heard about imposter syndrome as a concept, it was at work, and while we were talking about it, I was like, well, I don't really feel like an imposter. Like, I don't identify with this experience at work. And so I didn't think that I could relate to imposter syndrome. But as I was preparing to launch this podcast, I literally kept going back in my head like, oh my God, like, what are people going to think, or how is it going to do, and what if I didn't say this right, or what if they don't understand this part, and what if I said this wrong, or what if it doesn't look right, and what if all of those what ifs and what if questions. So yeah, I kind of realized, like, when I'm doing something creative, something that's more so driven from passion instead of like duty or obligation, I overthink it. Like, I overanalyze what it is that I'm doing. And I also had a realization that when I am more vulnerable, because I am someone who likes to like be funny and like have fun and be a good time and lighten the mood and be a joyful presence, not really ruffle too many feathers. I mean, I dibble and dabble, but that's not my what's the phrase? That's not my MO. That's not my thing. And so, when I do reflect on my vulnerability, I realize that my ego often steps in front of, and I literally had this realization last night, and I'm just like, wow, like my ego will step in front of my creativity or my passions, that mean more to me, like to my heart. And I think it's a form of protection, and it's also like, it's new, but it's kind of like my ego or my persona, my personality quite literally steps in front of my vulnerability and my creativity. And I've been reflecting about like being vulnerable as an artist, because like Erykah Badu said, I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit. Shout out to my fellow Pisces. But I am an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit. And when I peel back the layers on that, it's because I care, and it's because I have a message and I have something to say, and I want it to be received. You know, I want the message to be received. I don't want to feel like I'm pouring my heart into a canvas or into a poem or into a video, and it's not received. But then it's like, does it even matter? Like, does it even matter? But I share this because I have a lot of creative friends and creative people in my life, and a lot of times I see that, myself included, we are holding so much of our creative light in because of whatever reason. Most times it being some sense of, or some form of perfectionism, but it doesn't need to be anything but you, my love. And I'm saying that to myself as well, because it's just like, my goodness, it doesn't have to be anything but you. And I believe that art should really come from the soul, and each soul will express itself differently. And who's to say that what I have to say or what you have to say won't reflect something onto somebody else that helps them further realize something about themselves and their journey? Who's to say even the smallest thing, how many times has the smallest thing changed your life? Just seeing a quote, a fortune cookie, just some words of wisdom that you got from someone, something that someone told me, while I was sharing to her about like who I am and what I do, and why I was in that particular place. And I was just telling her about how I see life and creativity and sharing and helping others, and how helping others step into their divinity, or helping others step into their light, will further raise the vibration of the earth. That is something I truly believe in. And she said, well, you need to do all those things that you want to do. You need to share. Like, you need to share this. Like, because by you not sharing it, you're depriving your audience, you're depriving your people of the message. Bro, my cat just bust in here. She said, you're depriving me. So yes, I'm speaking in hopes that the creative out there can see themselves reflected in this idea, and that it'll hopefully inspire you to shine your light as well. And speaking of vulnerability, and these little moments that we share with other people, that we keep to ourselves, I truly love this life. It's not perfect by any means, but that's what makes it so. And I choose to see it through the lens of love and curiosity. And something beautiful about it is that you don't have to do it alone. You will find your people. You will find your community. And what I've learned, especially in this year, is that your people, your community, they're waiting for you. Not only will you find them, but they're waiting for you. They're waiting for you to show up. Not to be perfect, not to be fully realized, not to have all the answers, but to show up, to be present, to be authentic, to be you, to be you, to shine your light, to share what you have to offer. And as a creative, I know that it's hard not to think about the perception. As a human, I know it's hard not to think about the perception. But don't stress yourself about the people or the audience. It's going to find you because you're shining your light. And there's really no need to worry about the people, because the right people will stick around. Not only will they show up, but they will stick around. And you'll know when you know. But while we're here, I would love to speak on love as a girl who read and deeply internalized All About Love by Bell Hooks. It is my duty. It is my duty, not even as a girl, as a Black girl who read and internalized All About Love by Bell Hooks. It is my duty to continue to carry that flame, to continue to shine the light of love. So love, 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 love. Love can take the form of many shapes. But what lies at its core is a sense of acceptance and integrity. A lot of times with love, there's an emphasis on the romantic forms that it takes on. And while romantic love is very beautiful and it's truly a gift to experience, love really does take so many forms. And there are so many ways you can infuse love into your life, not only to others, but to yourself. By taking care of yourself, doing things that you like to do, eating well, moving your body, feeding your spirit. Those are the ways that you can truly love yourself. I think a lot of times for me, I would think of loving myself. I didn't really understand the concept of loving myself. Not because I didn't want to, but because it was never framed in a way that made sense to me. I would always think of it as filling the void of someone not being there with myself. But it never seemed to do that. It never seemed to fill that void. I still found myself searching for someone else to fill that void. And now that I realize how simple it was this whole time, in just the ways that I mentioned, just taking care of yourself and finding joy and finding ways to infuse love into your life, into your daily life, that is an act of self-love. Doing the things that you say you're gonna do. When you do it, no matter what it looks like, if it's not all the way there, you have to try and you have to show up. And that's a big thing too. And I want to reiterate that you have to show up. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to have reached your final form for people to love you. You just have to show up and be yourself. I think the biggest difference between love and attachment is that in attachment, you're often thinking about what the other person wants, what they think, what they feel, what they need, and rarely, if ever, thinking of what you need. And in love, when you love life, when you love yourself, or when you love the people that are in your community, your first thought is just how you feel and what you think about something. And it may not be something that you share, but you're in a space of you being the priority. And I had to let go of. And another thing I feel like affected my romantic relationships is that I had an idea of love. And just growing up, once I got to the age where romantic relationships became more prominent, growing up in a time where social media is very prevalent and the aesthetic of a relationship is highlighted more than the connection itself, or highlighted more than what the relationship actually means or how the relationship stands, what its purpose is, but how it looks. What type of things do you do? What type of gifts do you get? All of that really influenced my romantic relationships. And I really had to let go of the idea that love looked a certain way, because love requires an openness to truly be seen. So I had to unlearn that love meant you had to struggle, because it doesn't. Love can be gentle, love can be kind, it can be observant, and it can be peaceful. It can feel like getting under a warm blanket in the winter. It can, in a way, be idealistic. It can, in a way, be romanticized because that's what you're thinking of, what it is that you want to experience. Not just what you want to have, but what you want to experience, what type of experience you are aligning yourself with, and saying no to the experiences that don't align with that. But not because it looks a certain way, but because it feels and resonates a certain way. I think, especially for Black women and Black people in general, we see a lot of love that fights, a lot of love that struggles to stay alive, or a lot of love that never becomes realized. And I think that unconsciously or subconsciously, we internalize those stories and replay them with our partners. But I really, really, really want to stress that love does not have to be hard. It will come with its challenges for sure, because openness and vulnerability is no easy feat, especially if you're someone who's been hiding or if you're just coming into your vulnerability. But let the challenge be internal, or let the challenge be the challenge of overcoming oneself for the betterment of oneself, and not the challenge of working together. You know, love doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't. With the new year coming up, I really want to step into that experience, experiencing a gentle, kind, observant love. A love that feels like poetry. A love that makes me feel happy. A love that sings and shines so bright, truly. One of my true loves being music. I made you a playlist and I put it in the description for you to listen to and reflect on, just on having that. Honestly, it's not really super gentle, this playlist, but it has its pockets for sure. I think this past week I've really tapped into my Mars energy for some reason. And I have Mars in Capricorn, which I used to never relate to. But now that I'm maturing, I'm like, wait, hold up. Okay, Saturn, speak to me. Speak to me. And this playlist has some pockets. It has some interesting pockets. And it's really reflective of where I've been. And I really hope that you enjoy it. And maybe you can like set aside just like 30 minutes or so. I don't know how long the playlist is exactly, but it's like about 30 minutes aside to just like really sit with the music and like feel it, because all of these playlists have stories if you listen, if you pay attention. And that's why music is my true love, because it really does. Because there's no way, I don't want to say there's no way, but trying to describe my spirit is best done through music. I find it really is like it just, if you catch it, you catch it. Before I go, I wanted to ask you, where is love requiring you to be more present, more open? You can think about this for a little while, write about it in your journal, reflect on it with the loves in your life. Whatever you choose, just make it you. And with that being said, thank you so much for being here. Leave a like, comment, or share so that other beautiful souls can be connected just like you and I are right now. And I hope that you're having a happy holiday or just a happy end of the year. Thank you so much. Until next time, peace.